I'm joined now backstage with an Irish act who is looking to explode into 2023. She has already released an EP since January and she is on the talk of the town. She is the talk of the town when it's coming into next year with some huge names backing her, a new album coming in and a US tour. Delighted to say I am joined by the distinct Ailbhe Reddy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm excited because I really want to get in your head with what's about to happen in the year ahead. But for the listener, I'd love to kind of get a platform from where maybe we can understand where you come from. So if you wouldn't mind just very quickly take us through what your music adventure and music career has been for you so far. Like, how did you get into it and kind of where you are now?
Well, I'm from Dublin and I think I've always played guitar since I was a kid. Always writing songs, but I played an open mic night when I was 22 and one gig came from the next and I ended up starting to release music and it just kind of went from there. How it often does, just kind of got a taste for it and I couldn't stop.
And you couldn't stop. And so when was that open mic? Was that by chance around the 2016 mark?
No. It was a while before that.
A while before that. So 2016 was your first kind of starting to release and get your foot in the door of getting your name out there in terms of streaming platforms and different things. Okay. Because like already we were looking at your music and from the very get-go, you just seemed to have exactly the sound that so many people wanted since you literally kicked in the door.
Thanks.
It's like, I mean, the numbers don't lie and the numbers are there and it seems that the support was there for you from the start. And I guess looking back on it now, how was it to release the likes of Distrust, let's say, which did so well for you on the likes of Spotify and across all platforms? Like, what is it like looking back as one of your first initial entrances to the industry and for it to have done so well?
Yeah, I mean, I had actually released an EP that didn't end up on streaming platforms before that was not at all successful. So it was certainly not just a case of, I think anyone who's working in music will tell you it's never truly a case of just coming on with a bang. Like, there's always so much work.
Of course.
It goes so many failed attempts before anything really takes off.
Yeah.
I remember putting it out independently and I was working in an office at the time. I went on my computer one day on Spotify to look at something and it had 25,000 listens. And I actually had to text my friend and be like, is that a glitch in my computer or does that actually have that many listens to it? And she was like, yeah, weird. And like two of the songs were just going up massively. And then, by a few months later, it was on like 500,000. And by about a year later, I think it was on 1 million. Yeah, that was huge. That was like the biggest thing. That was kind of what I was kind of half doing it and working in an office and in college and all that kind of stuff and trying to release music, but didn't really think I could get anywhere with it. That was really what gave me the boost to take a chance.
Definitely. And I mean, it must have felt much more comfortable or at least more confident to be able to take a chance when suddenly out of nowhere there's this platform for you. And you're totally right. Like, there's no real such thing as an overnight success in the music industry. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes, but it seems like you have a sound and people want it. And so let's get through that. So from there, you released Personal History, your album in 2022, 10 tracks. And I love that wherever we see Ailbhe Reddy, it's always slowly followed by this like amazing alt folk distinctive sound. But you have quite a strong indie rock element in a lot of your sound as well. Would I be right in saying that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, those would be, I grew up listening to like folk and all that kind of stuff. So there's always that backbone to it, I think. But a lot of the music I listen to is kind of indie rock.
Right. Okay, yeah. I mean, like we were playing your music out loud here in the studio and everyone was coming up being just like, God, it's so her, but there's like elements of Cranberries, Blondie, Sinead O'Connor, even Florence and the Machine.
Cool.
Some names being thrown out all over the place.
You.
And I'm like, yeah, but it's still Ailbhe Reddy. And I think it's so consistent throughout all of your work. And then Last to Leave was the EP that you brought out January of this year, 5 tracks with a little bit of a taster of what we're to expect. And certainly from our point of view, it sounds amazing. It sounds so good. And for anybody who hasn't had the chance to hear it, head over right now, Ailbhe Reddy, Spotify, play these tracks because you are going to want to hear it before March rolls around because there's plenty going on. 17th of March, Endless Affair. Tell us all, Ailbhe.
So the tracks that from Last to Leave aren't actually an EP. It just comes up as that on Spotify. I don't know if that's an annoying thing to tell you now.
Yeah,
but,
no, that's so
the
true.
Tracks
actually,
that are out now they're just part of an album. So they're part of the album that's coming out on the 17th of March. So
right.
There's 5 tracks out now, I think, of it. And then on the 17th, that'll be the full 12 tracker.
The full 12 tracks.
I'm excited.
Okay, well, sorry, Spotify baited me on that one, and I wouldn't mind, but I couldn't see an EP release anywhere else other than Spotify, so it just joined all the tracks together. But it's exciting for me because I got to hear all 5 tracks all in the one place, so it was great, and such a great sound. And as you say,
exactly.
12 tracks on the new one, and you're going to celebrate that with a US tour. Tell us more.
Yeah, so I'm going over to New York actually on Thursday, and I'm going over for a show in Dead Rabbit in Manhattan, and then I'll be sticking around just doing a few bits of work in New York for the next few weeks, and then we start off a US tour at the beginning of March, and then we go to South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, and we'll be going to like we're doing New York, Boston, LA, San Francisco, all those kind of spots. Very
Wow.
exciting, and then coming back and doing EU and UK, and then of course 2 shows in Dublin.
So US tour, then Europe, then back to Ireland. And is that all throughout March, or where does that stretch to? From March to...
March to the end of April, early May.
Okay, so that is a lot of
Finishing
travel.
up in Dublin.
Right, a lot of travel, a lot of gigs. How are you feeling about it?
I'm so excited, like I feel like I've been waiting to do this for such a long time. I was meant to be doing this in 2020, so it feels like 3 years coming. So I'm stoked. But yeah, I mean, I've been gearing up for this. I knew all last year that this is what we'd be doing this year. So it's been very much like putting things in the right way, getting ready, and you're never going to be fully ready to do something like that, but we'll make it work.
Yeah. Oh, look, well, I have utter faith, like, especially when it gets to the last track of Endless Affair, it's immediately, I'm just saying out loud, you have to see them live. You just have to see Ailbhe Reddy live. Like, it just sounds like you have such a fantastic live sound that you're able to bring across so well in recording. And if I may, I have to ask, in the creative flow of everything when it comes to your album, how many is in the band and how do you go about a creative process? Because if I may, coming from a drumming background, your drummer sounds like they have a lot of fun. And so I'm wondering, how much creative input do you have on the different instruments?
Yeah, well, I actually co-produced Endless Affair, so I would have had quite a lot of influence on that. Tommy McLaughlin, who's amazing, and myself worked really closely on it, and I came into the studio with fairly fully baked songs
Fair
that
enough.
had been demoed. So then we built on top of that. But James Byrne, who did the drumming, who plays with Soak and used to play with Villagers and stuff like that, he's just phenomenal. He comes in and always just puts on, just changes the song with what he does. He's just Tommy and James, the way they work together, it's just amazing. But it's kind of just tends to be us three working on everything.
Wow, okay, fair enough. Well, it sounds like a playground for the drummer in a lot of songs, and I love it. I think one of my favourite tracks of Endless Affair is probably going to be track 3, which is Damaged. I love that kind of band sound. It's got a really cool bop to it. And then Pray For Me, which I think is track 11. I have to ask on that, actually, was that recorded live or was that done post with effects?
It was recorded as just one.
Wow, okay. It sounds beautiful, and I love your kind of call and answer and follow with you and the guitar. It sounds so amazing. And more things that were said around the office, which is great because it means that I have more things to mention here. But you've got so many strengths, and then you can bring it to a soft place, but it's still distinctively strong. And there's just a lot to be said for your sound already. So I can't wait to be able. I've had
so much, Adam.
Oh, look, my pleasure. And on that, I've had the pleasure of being able to hear Endless Affair before it comes out. And I can already tell people, you need to listen to this. You need to listen to it. I think there's so much different sounds, yet always with exactly what you want to hear. It's weird to explain, but every single song is fantastic on it. And I think any fans of you already are going to absolutely adore it. And I think anyone who isn't a fan has a very high likelihood of becoming one because it's such a fantastic sound. So March 17th. And if people want to get tickets to your show, Ailbhe, where can they go?
Songkick or Ticketmaster, they'll all be up there, or my website will.
Fantastic. ailbhereddy.com, what would it be?
It would be, yeah.
Excellent. Nailed it. Look at that.
There's not a lot of other Ailbhe Reddys knocking around.
Yeah. Fortunately for you, that URL is all yours. No competition.
Yeah.
Well, Ailbhe, thank you so much for being able to take the time to talk to us today, and best of luck with the insanely busy yet exciting schedule you have coming up.
Thanks so much, Adam. And thanks very much for the lovely words.